Welcome to the podcast. My name is Ryan. To my right is
James.
To my left is
Brad.
And we saw The Last Stand this week. Hey, if you're like, hey, I've never listened to The Real Nerds, what are these guys all about? Every week we go and see a movie and we review it. But that's not all we do, James. What else do we do?
Oh, we see other things throughout the week.
Brad, what else do we do?
We read comic books.
We also do some box office numbers. We see what's coming out on Blu-ray, and we also do some movie news.
Yeah.
I was seeing how well you guys pay attention to the podcast that I run, and if you could think quick like I can.
Honestly, I can't.
I'll admit it. Yeah.
No.
Usually,
People have heard the episodes that we do without Ryan. They are completely fucked up.
we may never do it again.
See,
Yeah.
and you guys think you just take me for granted, and I'm just, I'm like the utter of the.
I'm sorry. How does the show actually get on the internet?
I never said I took you for granted. I said you take me for granted for my ability to communicate through the.
Take you for granted. I encouraged you to start the show.
But you know what? It'd be nice if you guys said, you know what, Ryan, you put together a real good show. All you guys do is say, see this movie, you fucking fat fucker. And that really hurts my feelings.
I'm really thirsty since we started talking about udders, but I stopped paying attention. What are we doing?
I don't even know. I just went on some weird
We're attempting
thing.
to start a show.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm trying to be funny, but, sometimes
yeah.
it doesn't always work.
Yeah.
Anyways, if you're unfamiliar with the format of the show, we do this lame introduction like I try to do and be funny.
Yep.
And then we talk about movies. We do fan mail. Is there fan mail this week?
Oh,
Hate mail this week. We do our fan mail, then we do what we've been watching, and then we do some box office numbers, and then we also do some news and DVD releases, and then we talk about a movie we saw. Did I mention we also do a comic book? But this week we're going to change it up. If you're listening and say, hey, where's your commercials you do at the beginning of the show? Well, we're changing it up. Those commercials will now be edited into the middle of the show so you can listen to the show and then glaze over the commercials and never listen to the show
some kind
again.
of science.
No.
to spice
Listen
them
to
in.
the commercials because.
I said listen to the commercials and then never listen to the show after that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay, you got to listen to the commercials because that's how we keep ourselves afloat, boys. That's how we keep the podcast going.
It's the only reason I do this.
Exactly. Because if we don't have our barbecue sauce, then what the fuck are we doing this for?
I don't know how I'd eat chicken without it.
Brad, he really sold me on that barbecue sauce.
Sorry, his mouth was full of chicken. That was the
It
problem.
was, so he had to spit the chicken out. No, he had to swallow the chicken because the barbecue sauce is so good.
Yeah, I always swallow the chicken.
Always swallow the chicken.
Its intense flavor coated my mouth and made it impossible to speak.
Hey, wipe that off your chin, dude. That's gross. Getting it all over the microphone. For those of you listening at home, Brad just used a microphone like it was a dick, and he rubbed it all over his mouth.
It's still happening. No, stop it.
You might hear the scratch of his beard.
Scarier than Mama. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
We'll get to that later. Hey,
What?
fan mail.
Fan mail.
So it started off as fan mail this week. It really did.
We got a lot of new likes. And,
We did.
Oh, yeah.
So
tweets
yeah,
and
if you liked us on Facebook, thank you so much. And if you're tweeting to us, thank you so much, by the way.
If you're listening for the first time, welcome.
What started off as a really exciting time for us this week, one of our favorite movies from the year, was it on all three of our lists?
Yeah.
It was.
I believe so. Yeah.
Was the movie Looper. The movie Looper is directed by a gentleman named Ryan Johnson,
Yep.
who made Brick and The Brothers Bloom, both
Great. I've been a big fan of his since Brick. It's
both good movies, but I think Looper is his best movie. And maybe 3 weeks ago, James, was it?
Oh, it was before. It was
month
before
ago?
the end of this. Yeah, it was over a month ago.
Over a month ago, James wrote an article about, is the internet making you hate movies?
Yeah.
Basically pointing out the stuff that we have a mantra around here where we're going to go into every movie and expect to enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Because we didn't want to be part of kind of the culture now where it's you hate movies for the sake of hating.
Well, and I think you go in with so many preconceived notions of what you think a movie is going to be that if you go in expecting like, oh, this is going to be shit, and you, as I say in the article, if you hold the movie at a distance and don't try to meet it halfway in some places, then you're going to find things that you hate about it, and you're going to not like the movie. It gets in the way of your enjoyment of the film, which means why even go in the first place?
This is a roundabout way of saying that for how we don't know. Do you know how Ryan?
I sort of. I know how.
How did Ryan Johnson get a hold of the article?
Because I sent it to him. Because they've been doing these videos online lately where they do things like they're either honest trailers for a movie or they're that was in quotes. Or the worst ones, I think, are everything that's wrong with a movie in 30 seconds. They did The Avengers, they did The Dark Knight, and then they finally did Looper. And his tweet was something along the lines of, I guess I should have a good sense of humor about this, but I've addressed some of these problems in other places, already, and explained why they aren't really problems or how they work in the movie. Now I'm saying more things than you can in 140 characters, but still. Yeah. And then he linked to this video, and I tweeted him back, and I said, actually, I don't think you should be good-humored about it. I think what the internet is doing is really kind of shitty, and I linked him this article I had written, and he replied, and then it sort of spread from there.
And all he replied was, "Well said, my friend." And
I'm your friend too, Ryan.
I know. And what happened to this is actually one of my favorite movies from 2012. Scott Derrickson retweeted it.
Yeah,
he retweeted.
He made Sinister. Yeah.
Sinister. What did I say?
Well, you just said his name, but he's the guy who made Sinister.
Yeah, made Sinister. Sorry, he made Sinister, and I loved that movie. And he retweeted it, and then he started following us.
Yeah,
which
is awesome.
Yeah, so thank you.
And I was so over the moon just that Ryan Johnson had replied. I mean, it's silly. Like I have a bachelor's degree in English. If he tells me that my article was well said, that shouldn't give me a hard on, but I don't care. But it was awesome, It
is kind of cool because
I really respect that guy. I think he's
exactly
one of the most exciting people making movies.
And that Scott Derrickson retweeted it and then followed us. Thank you, by the way.
Dude.
And I don't even know he knows that I love Sinister. So, and I also love his first movie, The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Yeah.
So I do respect him too. And after we did this, we started getting people started finding the article.
And a whole bunch of people have liked it and reblogged it. Thank you. Many great things have been said about it. So we're just going to...
Over 80 likes.
Yeah. So that's cool. But what it's also done is got us something that we have asked for.
It's attracted detractors.
Yeah. It has.
We were always telling people to call in and tell us that we suck. Nobody called in, but they definitely told us we suck.
You can call us 720-6nerds5 to voice your opinion.
Yeah.
Because now we're just going to read it, and so maybe we'll get your...
They didn't call in, but they wrote essays about it.
Yeah, they did. So it's kind of interesting because one of the first ones we got, the first one we got, was from a gentleman named Matt Galvin, and he's the host of the Dark Knight News podcast.
Cool.
So thanks for finding us, fellow podcasters.
Yeah, I might have to check that out.
He says, good article, I agree and disagree, which is cool because, not everybody's going to have the same opinion.
Yeah.
Most of these videos are just nitpicks, and nitpicks do not ruin a film. They are small things that you can let go, and most movies have them.
Agreed.
But I think Dark Knight Rises, Prometheus, and Looper have gaping huge plot holes that affect the entire film. They also have some really poor writing. So in each of these videos, honest trailers, or movie sins, the majority are throwaway nitpicks and don't affect the quality of the film. But each video also hits about 4 big ones that do. Dark Knight Rises wasn't a great film. Either was Prometheus or Looper. I think all 3 are enjoyable and fun, but they are definitely flawed films.
Agreed.
Avengers was always supposed to be popcorn fun, while the other 3 were going for more serious, deeper message, and because what they aimed for was higher, the mistakes / potholes were more glaring and did affect the films. All 3 are fun. All 3 are fun to watch, though. Prometheus being the worst of the bunch. James, Prometheus was in your top 10.
Yeah, and Dark Knight wasn't. And I mean, here's the thing. I know why people don't like that movie, and I definitely think that it has flaws. My problem with these videos are not that it points out problems with movies. It's that they invent problems with movies. They ignore what's actually good about certain things and pretend like they're problems. If you go through the article and look at where I break down the Avengers one, it's ridiculous. I mean, they're saying things as if they are, and they're trying to make up so many that, as if they can just barely compact all the problems of this movie into 30 seconds, which then tries to make it look like, well, this movie is really such a piece of shit that it is packed with issues, but it's not. That's not true. And, I think that it is a genuine thing it's what we do is sit down and talk about what's right and wrong with movies.
Absolutely.
I certainly am never saying that there can't be criticism against it. But it's this issue of like, hey, how much fun is it to just kind of make up shit to pick on movies for? That's my real problem here. But yeah, thanks, Matt. I think he makes a really good point.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Zach D7 followed up about a few hours later and says, yeah, I've been thinking something very similar, right down to the indictment of Red Letter Media, whom I appreciate for their intelligent analysis in some respects. but at the same time realize they don't always get it right. For one thing, they treat a Star Wars prequel as though every single element of the film were a bad thing. I totally agree.
Yeah, this is true.
You don't need for that to be true to have a bad movie, and just because it's a bad movie doesn't mean every single element is flawed. For instance, the Anakin Amidala romance analysis is one element that comes to mind. Maybe it is stilted in some ways, but you could imagine the same sort of love story in another movie that was considered a good movie. I actually agree with that because I think with the Star Wars movies, sometimes I think they're under an unfair microscope.
Yeah.
And I've said this before. I know you guys think Episode 1's the best of the prequels. I don't, but at the same time, when I rewatched it, if you remove the hype from it, it's a more enjoyable movie.
Oh, I agree. I think what's really good about what he's saying here is that he's talking about an actual large element of the movie. He's talking about the romance, and that romance is going to work for some people and not work for others, and then we can have a discussion about that. The Red Letter Meteor videos, and I talk about them in the article, they tend to do that sort of nitpicky thing where they'll show the alien. You remember the alien from Episode 1 that's got like the funny microphone right in front of her face, you know? And he keeps popping back to her and he'll say like, "What the fuck is on your face?" And it's funny, but that's not really a critique of the film. And those are the kinds of things that these videos are pulling up and critiquing in a really unfair way. He's only doing it to entertain you because his reviews are an hour and a half long. Like it's ridiculous. He's got to do something to keep you in there. But I think that Zach is really right. It's, looking at elements like that are the right way to look at films.
And then he goes on to say, incidentally, where are people of twinperfect.com?
Not at all.
They can be a bit arrogant and sometimes get it wrong, but I like their stated mission is looking for problematic films and trying to see if they can come up with a better understanding of the material, which is cool, too. I think it helps.
I like that. If you have a problem with something, if you can offer like what you would do, like a specific example of what you would do to change it and make it better.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's an excellent way to approach it.
Not just nitpicking that the helicopter is flying by a road. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And Brad, you'll get to it later, but you're kind of doing that right now. You're reviewing films that you kind of brushed off to see if you can find redeeming qualities in them, correct?
Well, I'm rewatching them again, but unfortunately, I often don't have solutions to what would actually make that scene or that story better.
But at least giving it a second chance.
Giving it a second chance. That's what I mean.
Going back to them and saying, like, okay, Rat Race was maybe not a great film, but let me sit down and, having already seen it and knowing what I'm going to get, maybe try and re-examine it and see, like, what good things can I pull out of it? Can I have fun with this movie? I think there's some value in that.
I agree. Zach followed this up, to another thought. Ever really love a movie, watch it with someone, and have them totally criticize it, deflate it? And the funny thing is that can ruin your future enjoyment of the film as well. Of course, if you hype the film in the first place, it may have been hard for it to meet the said friends' expectations. Oh, absolutely. I remember vividly when The Ring came out. I told my brother Steve, I said, "Oh, it's a really good horror movie. If you like horror movies, it's different. There's a creepy part, when she crawls out of the TV at the end." And my brother Steve hated it, and he says it's stupid, it's boring. And so I own it, and I haven't watched it in years, but I mean, rewatching it again, I was like, maybe Steve was right here. Maybe it isn't as good as I remember it. I think my brother was wrong, but I still enjoy it. But yeah, I agree with that too.
Well, and it's funny because my first reaction was again, fuck yeah, my number 4 movie of the year was Prometheus. Like the credits rolled on that movie, and I was like, fuck yeah, that was I had a really good time. There was silly stuff in there, but I had a good time with that. And I looked at my right, and the people I was with were just like, I was like, no, because I don't like having the people with me not enjoy the movie as much as I that's not fun.
It does. I always hope people enjoy Army of Darkness, but there's always a part of me that say it's my favorite film of all time, but it's so unique and it has so many unevenness in it that I think it could put some people off. I mean, is it a horror? Is it a comedy? Is it a time travel movie? Is it sword play? You know what I mean? And so I can see how people might not like it.
Try having
try
having the first Ninja Turtles movie as your favorite.
Exactly, because I mean, we're not talking about like Citizen Kane's here or or
some of movies that you really really love, and I mean at this point they're movies that you guys grew up with, where if you show them to somebody who never seen Ninja Turtles, I haven't seen Ninja Turtles in a long time. If I watch it now, I am going to be probably very disappointed by how kitsch and crummy looking it is. I'm sure it looks great. Sorry, Brad. I'm sure it's great.
How dare you?
But you know what? It's and the same thing is true of Army of Darkness. I'm sure that there's some crazy person in the world who says that about Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah,
No,
and they're all full
that
of
person,
shit.
Yeah, that person doesn't exist. Sorry,
But-
I win this argument.
Okay, so it's funny because these first two messages are, kind of cool.
Oh yeah,
they're
absolutely.
really, but all of a sudden, this takes a weird turn. And it starts with Kevin Burke. I love that he actually left his real name. Some people don't do that on here.
Yeah.
Like people who like it and they say, a guest. I'm like, well, the guest, have the balls to say why you don't like it. Anyways, he says, this entire argument is bullshit.
Okay, first off, I'm going to interrupt you a lot during this, just to say, but go ahead.
Okay, that's fine. I'll pause after every sentence. This entire argument is bullshit. Here, I'll even read it like a douchebag.
Oh no! Oh, don't.
It's going to invalidate your opinion, but
Oh
go
yeah,
ahead, go ahead.
I'm sorry, but his opinion is already invalidated. He didn't read the article, so
You can't even use Taduker. I'm kidding. It's
The Dark Knight Rises.
but he put the single letters.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to make him, Anyways, you can't use A Dark Knight Rises as a perfect example.
you can even use. That's what he said.
It has a very healthy score on Rotten Tomatoes, but that's not good enough for the fans.
I never brought up Rotten Tomatoes in the article.
They need everyone to adore it and revere it as a perfect film.
I have a whole paragraph in there about how movies still have problems. That's not what I'm saying.
Even someone who picked it as their favorite film of the year said it has problems, right, Brad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
And when people compare it to its predecessor has issues. Doesn't make it any less fun of a movie.
yeah, we'll get to that too.
The same thing happens with The Hobbit, Looper, Django, etc.
I am a huge critic of.
I didn't finish, etc.
I'm a huge critic of Django. So no, again, you're not listening to me.
Fanboys have created this impassable. I can't even. It's like gray on my screen.
Impassable. Which is not a
Impassable
word.
barrier where you aren't allowed to dislike or have any kind of criticism about a film, because if you do, you are nitpicking, smug, arrogant, etc.
Okay, here's the thing. This is true. There are people out there who are fanboys like this and don't ever want to hear you say anything bad about their movies and will defend Green Lantern to their death. That's not what this article's about. And at no point do I think I come across like I'm saying that. I'm not even talking about these movies in that kind of context. So anyway, go ahead.
It's bullshit.
Again?
Yeah.
Is it still bullshit?
He cusses a lot in here.
He does.
No film is impervious to criticism. Of course not.
I said that.
Is there any film that's perfect?
No.
Army of Darkness.
I think that there are some that come really close. I think that like for what they're achieving, like I've always thought that like that a movie like and this is gonna sound really weird, but I've always felt like Remember the Titans, for what it's trying to do, comes really close to achieving its goal perfectly. If that makes sense. I think that script is really tight. Hayden Panettiere is not a very good actress in that movie, though. So there
I don't
we go.
remember.
I just
I
found
love
something.
Denzel
Seen
Washington.
it. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, you've never seen it?
No.
Oh, it's pretty good. You should check it out.
Fans need to stop being so goddamn sensitive and grow up.
Just what? Fans in general? Are you just generalizing all of them, or are there some people like Star Trek fans maybe who are fine with it when you fuck with their shit? Yeah.
You, James.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot it was
should
me.
not care if someone dislikes a movie that you're a fan of.
I don't.
And
I'm
you
Prometheus.
I am not fucking done with the
Sorry.
sentence.
I'm sorry.
I'm starting to see this as a possible agreeing with you argument, actually, but go on.
Oh, okay.
You should not care if someone dislikes a movie that you're a fan of, and you certainly shouldn't care so much that you fall into the desperate trap of dismissing all criticism as some kind of cultural problem.
No, see, he's definitely not agreeing
He's
with
not
me.
agreeing.
Okay.
with James.
Yeah.
This article is right about one thing, semicolon.
At least he's giving you some credit.
Okay, now wait. So the thing that follows should be something that I ever said in the article, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay, cool.
The way that people look at films have changed.
I never said that.
But I'd argue that it's fanboy desperation to reach the mythical 100% Rotten Tomato score that exemplifies that change. And this article, complaining about people being critical of film, epitomizes that strive to ensure that nothing negative is ever said about a fan, quote unquote, film.
What?
This is pathetic.
All right. You know what?
You
Fine.
suck.
Actually,
I went my Shao Kahn there. For
Fatality.
yeah, he totally gets me at the end. It is pretty pathetic.
You just ripped your spine out, James.
He did.
Totally.
Yeah. No, I'm done. I'm going to give up. I'm going to go home and cry.
I don't think. Here's my take on this too, really quickly. I don't think everybody thinks that a film's ever going to get 100% on the Rotten Tomatoes. I think there's a few, but I don't.
No. Yeah.
But I mean, you're asking some. I think the only film I actually can pull off the top of my head that has a perfect score on Rotten Tomatoes is Pinocchio, from Disney. And again, you're picking on something. And I'm pretty sure even if you say the movie's great, you can probably find something that's not people don't like about it. The biggest criticism of Pinocchio is very episodic. You know, he goes from one place to the next place to the next place, but it doesn't take away from how great the film is, how beautiful it is.
I just think it just scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. That's my biggest.
It doesn't even matter. It's not factual. There's no factual rating system you can do. It's all subjective. It's an opinion.
Right.
So anyone who's expecting anything to be perfect that's ridiculous.
Yeah. No.
Because nobody's perfect. You know, one of my favorite quotes of all time is from a Colorado Rockies pitcher, and he said, "If you expect yourself to be perfect, then there's no room for improvement." And there's no director, there's no actor who sits back and watches what they've done and says, "That's pretty fucking good. I'm done. I've reached my pinnacle. I don't need to do anything else."
And it's an art where people see things differently. So people are going to read and interpret your art in different ways, and they're going to come to their own rated conclusions to it.
Yeah. And that's the interesting conversation. Those are the things we should be talking about. That's why these videos piss me off.
And I think people are misinterpreting what James wrote. He's not saying that, you know, films don't deserve criticism. He's saying that because the internet puts out internet, that's very broad, but I'm saying people put out videos for you to not like parts of films just because.
I think that what it is that on the internet, if you say something that's bombastic, people will pay attention to you. They won't necessarily agree with you, but they will click on it. And just you getting those hits is worth it for them. And so if you can say things that are crazy and angry and stupid, and you say them loud enough, then you end up being successful on the internet. And I think that's the wrong way for film criticism to go. And I think it's worse when my biggest problem was that is how often blog sites like ours, like the big important ones like Slash Film, will reblog or repost these videos. That's what pisses me off.
It's almost like they're proliferating the negative content too much that it almost becomes truth.
Exactly. Exactly. Well worded, Brad.
Yeah. If Red Letter Media wants to make these videos and put them on their site, cool. I'll just avoid their site. That's fine. It's the problem is when other sites that should have a higher integrity than this are starting to repost them and go like, "Hey, here's this funny video." No, it's not funny. It's bad for film criticism. That's what it is.
They're kind of funny. But that's our opinion.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay.
I refuse to watch them.
They can be kind of funny, but I think that so much of their argument is so
for every
vapid. There's nothing really there.
For every genuine critique, there's like 5 other just jokey, like nonsense critiques that just fill time and make it more fun to watch than it actually is.
Right.
But unfortunately, people will take that as like a real examination of what the movie is, and that's unfortunate.
Exactly. And of course, my favorite comment left in this whole little thing is, seriously, get over yourself, James. Thank you, the London Film Review. We really, really appreciate that, because now that's going to be posted on our website. Brad's going to find a way to put it in the header. It's going to be GER8.
We're hated across the pond.
Yep. You know what? We beat you in 1776. Fucking get over it, dude. Get over it. March your ass out of Yorktown, back across the pond, and drink your fucking tea and...
At the Comic-Con this year, we should have a little picture frame with George Washington inside it, sitting on the corner of the table.
Yes, I love it.
Oh, man.
Of course, you're always welcome to have criticisms. I actually think this was a great discussion.
No, absolutely.
And if any of these guys have the balls to call us, 720-6nerds5, you'll hear your voice on the podcast, and we'll yell at you some more. But thank you. Anyways, and here's the thing, too, though. We always appreciate any kind of comments on it. And
absolutely.
You know what? You just doubled probably our listening audience. So,
well, and it's one of those things where it's like, okay, even the people who disagree with me, especially the first couple guys who had really good points. Yeah. It's the ones where they clearly didn't read the article. That's where I'm like, come on.
And you never once mentioned Rotten Tomatoes and a 100% score.
No, I never said anything about that. I, in fact, said exactly the opposite. In fact, he talks about fan films. I use a video that criticizes The Dark Knight as an example for the right way to criticize movies. So it's clearly nothing to do with being a fan in quotes film.
Anyways, thank you, everybody. And you know what? I want to thank Scott Derrickson for retweeting that, and Ryan Johnson for giving us a shout out. That is really cool. We have a couple celebrities that follow us now, guys. We're pretty important.
Yeah. Hey. Get over yourself.
No, dude, I can't. Oh, that's right. The London Film Review told me that. Fuck.
Oh, man.
Well, hopefully I'll be able to get over myself as soon as I finish my tea and I go and listen to my U2 albums in Ireland and with those fucking pallywagger fuckers. I don't even know.
Somebody cut him off.
I'm done.
I don't want to lose the entire English audience.
Yeah.
Do we have one? Hey, you know what? If you're from England and you're, listening to us,
we didn't know we had
sweet.
We didn't know we had a Connecticut audience, and guess
so
what happened?
now we've stretched another 3,000 miles.
Possibly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, I'll just mention this real quick. Our good friend Tom Sullivan was on the cover of the Denver Post saying people should go see movies again because they should, and he has a great quote on it.
What do you want me to read it?
Yeah, did you want to read it? Because I don't have it in front of me.
Because obviously the
newspaper still exists, by the way.
The Century 16 reopened today. And you could read the article online. The Century 16 reopened actually last night, and Tom was there. And when he was interviewed for it, he said, "This isn't just a place where we lost Alex. This is the place we live. We love to go see movies." And
absolutely,
it's just.
And sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. But if you listen to our interview with him, he will always say you should go see movies, and he was one of the strong supporters of going back to that theater.
Yeah,
and for him to be that strong, man. What a hero, man. I love that guy. I've been to Mile High Comics a couple times since we saw him last, and he's been there both times.
Oh, wow.
In fact, last time I was there, he met my dad, and it was kind of cool.
Oh, that's cool.
So, yeah, Tom, we appreciate it, and all that your family does for us. His daughter, Megan, always says thanks, for helping to get my dad's message out there, but we thank them for being so generous.
Totally the other way, yeah.
Because
I love Tom Sullivan. That guy's awesome.
He's so cool, and he collects Spider-Man. He was telling me the story really quick. He was telling me the story of how he got Amazing Spider-Man 50, which is it's a really famous issue where it's Spider-Man No More, where Peter Parker's walking away from being Spider-Man. And when he was little, he traveled around Europe because his father was in the military. You can listen to the interview on Father of the Fan. But he tells a story about how he and his dad went to this movie theater because they're playing a Beatles movie. And they couldn't afford the really high tickets. They had all these tickets along the board, and he went and his dad picked the cheapest ones. But when they got in there, it turned out that they were right up front, and he took pictures of this. And when he went to a comic store, and he had like a little film strip of the picture he took, and he traded that little picture for Amazing Spider-Man number 50.
Wow!
So cool story. Thanks, Tom.
Neat.
He has great stories.
Yeah.
I love that guy. We also got a tweet from Eileen, and she said, "Hey, assholes." Just kidding. She said, "Are you guys seeing Mama, and have you seen the 2.5-minute short that inspired it?" We are going to see Mama. We saw The Last Stand this week, but we just watched the 2.5-minute short, and it's pretty effective for something so quick.
Oh, yeah.
I can see...
It's very much the end of the American trailer.
Yeah.
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 Longer.
Is it weird that I think the ghost in it's more effective because it's not CGI? I'm just saying.
Oh, was it? Yeah, I was farther away. Was it not CGI at all?
No.
Man, how'd they do the hair?
I think the hair was, but I think the person moving was not.
Interesting.
And it was really interesting about that short is, I don't think it's terrifying, but I think it's interesting enough, and I think it's cool that they stretch it out to a movie because, the short is just these little girls saying Mama's back, and then it's this terrifying ghost thing, possessed thing.
I think the way it moves is what is so sort of
exactly
so neat about that short.
So yeah, you should definitely check it out because it's kind of interesting.
It's too bad because it was actually at Telluride Horror Show, but we didn't get a chance to see it.
You know why? We were interviewing
the Battery?
Paul?
No, we weren't interviewing not Paul, Raphael.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
So yeah, because it was during the day.
Yeah, but it's all over the internet now, so you just go check it out. It's pretty neat.
It's really neat, so it makes me want to see the movie.
Yeah. Well, in Slash Film, I know how the movie ends now because Slash Film did an article about it. Yeah, I don't usually like horror films, so I wasn't going to be really interested in it. But I am kind of interested to see it now just because of where it goes. It'll probably scare the poop out of me, but whatever.
There's no ET in it. Don't be that worried.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you everybody who liked us on Facebook this week. Thank you everybody who tweeted us. If you're wondering where you can find us on Twitter, it's real_nerds. You can also find us on Facebook, Real Nerds Podcast. You can go to our website, realnerdspodcast.com. Email us, realnerds@gmail.com. You can call us. I've already said that a couple times. But we love interacting with people.
Yeah.
That's what's great about the internet now. It's so, keeps on going so fast. I love it.
And we got a lot of contact this week, and so if you did send us something, we missed it, we apologize, and just yell at us, and we'll get it on next week.
Well, and
exactly.
I think some of the stuff that we're starting to post on /film or on Facebook,
Dude.
I mean, things like that. You know, we may not always read that stuff on there. We get a little conversation going. I want to get a conversation going,
and I love it. I loved the little banter we had. I thought it was a great conversation. Hey, speaking of great, here's a word from our sponsors. The Comic-Con that is a mile above the rest returns in 2013, and it's bigger than ever.
That's right. Stan Lee's going to be at Denver Comic-Con this year.
They also have George Takei at Denver Comic-Con 2013.
Plus Kelly Hu and Will Wheaton.
Friend of the podcast, Georges Jonty, will be there. So go online to denvercomiccon.com where you can buy tickets. Stay tuned. VIP tickets for Stan Lee will be available.
Does this sound familiar? You're interested in purchasing that new action figure, but aren't sure if it's worth it?
Well, come check out PlasticExplosion.com, where you can go to find all the latest and greatest action figure previews and reviews.
Every week, they'll be bringing you reviews and picks from your favorite collections, such as
DC Universe, Masters of the Universe Classics, Marvel Universe,
Star Wars, Transformers,
and many more.
Come check us out at PlasticExplosion.com. That's PlasticExplosion.com.
So, this is the stuff we've been watching.
This week, that sounds so lame, but work was driving me nuts this week, so I got
Really?
Yeah, right. 2 days when I got off work, well, except Sunday, I just had nothing else to do.
Watch the Broncos lose.
Yeah, fucker. On Sunday, I went to our local cinema, and I was going to see Silver Linings Playbook. I always forget the S on the linings part. It's like a clunky title.
It's the most important S.
It is.
We'll talk about clunky titles later.
So I went. It was 1 o'clock on a Sunday. The line was long, and I thought it was for Zero Dark 30 because at the same theater. I got up to front. I said, "Hey, can I get one for Silver Linings Playbook?" It was sold out.
Oh wow!
It was literally sold out
in the middle of the afternoon.
Yeah, wow. And so you guys went and saw a different movie, and I won't spoil it for people who aren't listening.
Yeah,
but I tweeted, I'm like, I'm going to go see Silver Linings Playbook. And then some asshole named Sparks tweeted that I was an elitist dick. What an asshole. If I ever see that guy, I'm going to punch him in his fucking face.
You should.
To be clear, that was Brad.
That was Brad.
Dude, shut up. Blow my cover.
Anyways, it actually worked out for me because the Impossible was playing across the street.
Now, what is The Impossible? I honestly don't know about this movie.
The Impossible is a story of this family that survived the 2004 tsunami.
Oh, that one. Yeah, I remember that. I just didn't remember the title.
And it's a true story. So, again, a lot of true stories this year, and some of them are so fantastical. Anyways, I went and saw it, and this movie is fucking great.
Yeah?
It's Naomi Watts is great in it, and I think she was nominated for a Golden Globe and an Academy Award for it.
This is The Impossible you're reviewing.
The Impossible.
Yeah.
Ewan McGregor is really good in it. He's the father. But who actually steals the movie is her oldest boy. His name is Tom Holland, and in the movie he plays a boy named Lucas. And, dude, it's harrowing, and it's such a good movie.
That's cool.
And it's kind of interesting because, you think when there is a 9.3 earthquake, you would feel it and there'd be some sort of warning. But evidently I did some research after I watched this movie because the lady who told the story, her name's Maria, and she's actually a Spanish family. They played an English family in the movie.
Yeah, it's made in America.
But it was cool because she was credited for the story for this movie. They gave her credit for it, and she told the story, and she told the story to the screenwriter because she wanted to make sure it was told right.
Right.
Anyways, the story is they were literally at this beach resort, and they were all playing in the pool, and the waves came. And I was reading tsunamis. There's really no early detection for them.
Really? You don't feel like an earthquake about it?
No, the earthquake happens.
Oh, right, because the earthquake is usually like so far underground.
Exactly.
You don't feel the shake. It's just the water moving.
Exactly.
That is the effect.
They don't know. So after the tsunami, of course, 200,000 people die. They find a way to maybe help it. Anyways, it just, dude, it starts. Naomi Watts is just sitting on a chair, and her page in her book blows away. Of course, it's a little dramatized, obviously.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So she goes away, and then you see the birds fly away, and then these huge waves come, and Ewan McGregor sweeps up his two little boys, and their oldest boy, Lucas is playing with a ball, and he's far away from the family, and you see Ewan McGregor get plowed by the wave, and then Naomi Watts gets plowed, and she pops up.
Sorry.
She pops up a few minutes later, and she's just going down like the street outside of the hotel. She got blasted through the hotel.
Wow.
And she's going down the street, and she, obviously panicking, and then she's freaking out because obviously she thinks her family's dead.
Right.
And her little boy goes by her, like down and it's just harrowing. The movie's great.
Wow.
And how she survives, and you also see Naomi Watts' boobs in it.
Oh yeah. So
actually, I didn't.
So it's a movie with Naomi Watts in it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Did she show her boobs a lot?
Yeah, I think so.
Anyways, I didn't get it at first because there's a scene of her undressing, and she's putting on her bathing suit, and they show her naked. One is PG-13, so I didn't think there would be nudity.
Wow.
I think they get away with it because it's not in a sexual way.
Yeah.
Anyways, they show it, and then you find out later that she has a huge gash on her chest, and I think the director was showing how pretty she is, like her body, I guess,
right.
And then how devastated it is by this tsunami, because she also is missing half her calf. And she's trying to rally and help her son, but her son ends up saving her.
Oh, okay.
And they save this little boy. Dude, the movie's good, and I seriously welled up at the end because it's no spoilers that the whole family lives because everybody knows they do.
Well, and I think in the trailer there's even a shot that makes you kind of go, "Oh, okay, so they're going to be okay." Like the trailer is very, I watched the trailer. I remember thinking about halfway through, going "Oh, this looks really good," and then it gets really sort of, rosy colored. It's like in half where it's okay, this is going to be a happy time story. This isn't going to be,
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of obvious. That's the way they're selling it.
And there's a really cute moment where Naomi Watts she's lying on this dirty hospital, and her little boy is helpless, and because she's a doctor, so she knows she's kind of in a bad place, and she tells him to go help people because he's really good at helping people. So he goes around and takes people's names and starts asking to find people. And it's just it's a cute story, and how he does it. And then at the end, I was like, I'm not going to cry at this movie, but there's something about little British kids that make me cry. So I definitely say go see The Impossible.
Cool.
Because it's really good. And the second movie I saw, and James is going to hate this, is Silver Linings Playbook, which, by the way, is another fantastic movie.
Fuck, now I have to go see it.
The story is Bradley Cooper plays a guy that has bipolar, and he is in a mental institution, and when he gets out, his mom picks him up, and you start finding a little bit about his story.
Yeah.
And the story is why he's in this mental institution is he came home to his wife banging the history teacher from the school they both work at. And he goes nuts and almost kills him by beating him up.
Oh yeah.
And they were listening to his wedding song with his wife, "My Cherie Amour" by Stevie Wonder. And Bradley Cooper's really good in it. I mean, he plays this character where he doesn't really have a filter on what he's saying. And Jennifer Lawrence is amazing in it. She plays a woman whose husband died, and they're both crazy, and they're both trying to help him. I mean, she's trying to help him, but he's also trying to help her.
Yeah.
And it's a really great scene and a movie. And what I loved is Robert De Niro played a character finally. He wasn't just...
he wasn't Robert De Niro.
Exactly. He played Bradley Cooper's father who has OCD. And it's really good. I know you don't want to hear it, but I mean, the movie is really good.
Yeah. No, it's just that I hate David O. Russell because I think he's an asshole, and I think that The Fighter was a piece of shit. So I was very tentative to see that movie, but if you're saying that's good, and obviously it's gonna win Best Picture this year now, so I guess I should see it.
And I'm such a movie nerd that the whole thing that Bradley Cooper does with Jennifer Lawrence is she's teaching him to ballroom dance, and it sounds really lame. I'm not going to spoil too much of it because it kind of ruins the movie, but it's to get his mind thinking of different things. And so there's a scene where they're watching Singing in the Rain, and they're trying to do the dance, and it's awesome. And the performances are amazing in this movie. They really are. And it's just a cool movie. I really think it's good. And Chris Tucker's in it, but he doesn't play...
What?
He doesn't play Chris Tucker, like the...
What?
Hey, man, what's going on here? I can't talk like him. But
yeah, no.
The manic... He plays a guy who's crazy, too, but he plays it really, subtly, and Yeah,
you just said Chris Tucker and subtle,
and he keeps on breaking out of the mental institution to check on Bradley Cooper's character, and it's really funny. And he always gets caught, so they'll be at their home watching like an Eagles football game, and then the cops show up and saying, "Hey, he's not supposed to be here. We need to take him back."
Oh, that's good.
So it's really cool. So yeah, you should definitely check out this movie. So I saw 2 movies, and they both kind of made me cry. Yeah, Silver Linings Playbook made me, like a tear was coming down. I was like, fuck, what is wrong with me? Am I so old
like
now?
You're like that Indian from the 70s. You're just so sad that we're destroying his nation.
Weird Naked Indian?
Yeah.
Anybody Wayne's World 2? No? All right.
I don't know.
And I also rewatched King Kong 2005 because I got it on Blu-ray really cheap from Amazon.
Is it pretty?
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
And okay, so this movie is 8 years old now.
Yeah.
And it still looks fantastic.
Good.
And the T-Rex scene's awesome. I forgot how on the edge of your seat you are through that whole scene.
Oh yeah.
And I think what inspired me too is I saw Naomi Watson, The Impossible, and I felt like watching her again.
The first half of that movie especially is really good with just them on the boat.
It's one of my favorite movies. I really love that movie.
Yeah. I mean, I understand why people do, like it is long.
Oh.
And it is long in the tooth long, but I watched
I watched it yesterday, and I was watching the extended cut, and I just started it, and my wife came home from work, and she says, "Oh, I'll sit down and watch it." And about halfway through when they're on the boat, she starts fiddling with her phone. And I said, "Is this boring you?" She says, "Yeah." I said, "Well, it's been on for like 2 hours. It doesn't feel like that." And she says, "Yeah, it does." I don't feel that way. I love the movie. So,
and it is. I mean, there's something to be said for the fact that the original King Kong is like less than half the length of that film.
It is.
It's. But I think they do.
But you're
really
also.
cool stuff with those
I think there's so many beautiful scenes in it when she meets him again in New York. Oh man, I love the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I love the original King Kong, but I will say that I don't think that it. We just saw it at Horror Show.
It was awesome.
It was awesome, but I don't think that it characterizes the monkey as well as 2005 does. I mean, 2005. I am legitimately really sad when he dies at the end.
Well, I always said too, even in the 1939 one, I don't think King Kong is a villain, and he's always. Portrayed as one. He's actually I think on the AFI's, the American Film Institute's top 100 villains of all time,
which is the wrong place for him.
He's on my list of top 10 heroes of all time.
Yeah.
Because he's protecting Anne, and I don't think he's taken out of his world and he's forced to be in someone else's world. So it's not his fault he's dead.
Yeah.
It's Beauty's fault.
Yeah, that bitch.
James, what did you watch this week?
I finally finished Homeland, season 2 of Homeland, or I should say I'm caught up on Homeland. And it's weird. I don't know if it's the like I've heard so many good things and it's won so many awards that I watch it and I kind of go like, it's a great show. It really is. It's a lot of fun. The acting is really good. But it's one where I kind of feel like it's very kind of TV, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Or like it. Like, I feel like I can kind of see the strings being pulled. Of like, oh, okay, this is how they're crafting this season. And by the end of the season, they set up like, okay, this is going to be the status quo for next season. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
It's a hard criticism to lay on something. It's simply the only reason I can explain why I like the show but don't love it. Does that make sense?
Is it a show where people should watch it? Because it's getting a lot of praise right now.
I absolutely think that people should watch it. I think... you guys will probably really enjoy it. I'm just saying that for me it is good but not great. I think the acting is actually great. I think that Claire Danes is really impressive because she's playing this character who is legitimately a little insane. She at one point in the series gets shock treatment. And at the same time, she is because that's the thing that people always tell you is like, for a while you really don't know if she's insane or not. That makes it sound like you don't know whether or not he's a terrorist. He's a terrorist, and they make that clear pretty early. It's whether or not she is mentally stable that is the question, and I think that's why she is so good, and why her portrayal is so good.
I've been kind of avoiding articles and stuff about it because I do want to watch it and I don't want it to be spoiled for me. So.
Yeah, the thing I just said I don't think is the shock treatment thing. Maybe that's a spoiler. But as far as you knowing he's a terrorist, like, it really is an episode or two in, it's real obvious. Like, you know, they reveal it with, like, hey, he's talking to not Osama bin Laden, but their equivalent. Like, it's they are not skirting around that. That is a definite element of the show.
Bin Osama.
Yeah. But it's really good. I'm definitely going to keep watching it next season. It's just...
is it finished its second season?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The second season ended in the fall.
I can't believe that's already been on so long.
I would love to hear somebody who really loves the show tell me what it is that hooks them so well. Because maybe it's just that I'm missing something. I don't know. Like I said, it's not that it's a bad show. It's a great show. It's just I don't love it. Girls came back this week. Had the second premiere, which is a show that I loved the beginning of the first season, and by the end of the first season was really frustrated by, and I think it continues here, where I realized that I don't like these people. I think the show is trying to be really honest, and I think that there's a reason why it's called Girls and not Women, because these girls are not being smart about their relationships or the way they act out their lives. And like the people that the women that we know that I've talked to who really like the show, their argument is always to me, like, when I tell them, like, I hate the fact that this character did this, their argument is always, well, yeah, girls are like that. And I go, right, that's my problem. You know, like, I understand that the show is trying to be honest, but it's being honest so much that I don't like the characters anymore, so I have a hard time following them, if that, you know.
Yeah.
It's still funny, but it's not as funny as those early episodes were. But I'm gonna keep watching it because I have to know where it's gonna go, especially because you can't drop a show the first episode of a season.
Oh no,
because they're still setting stuff up. I also watched, speaking of movies with clunky titles, I watched Pinata Survival Island. Which is a movie...
It says Demon Island on your IMDb
Well,
page.
yeah, the alternate title is Demon Island, and I think that's just Pinata. IMDb doesn't have an Enye, you know, so they don't want to call it Pinata
Is that
Survival
what that's
Island.
called?
Yeah, the N with a...
That's called the tilde.
No, the tilde is the...
Just the accent?
No, I think the letter itself... Yeah, I think the tilde is the accent. I think the letter itself is called an Enye.
Enye. Yeah, that's right, actually. Yeah.
I took Spanish, I forgot. But anyway, I've seen this movie like 6 times now, because back in the day it used to be on TV.
Well, don't you own it now too?
I own it now. I paid $6. And
we're still in the wrapper. I saw the picture online. So.
No. Well, it's not now. I watched it. I'm gonna do a shit show review of it sometime this next week, so you'll get plenty more about Pinata Survival Island. But it stars Jamie Presley and Nicholas Brendan, who is the guy who plays Xander. In Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And basically it's about this island. It's not even about an island where there are demons. It's actually about, like, this tribe puts all of their...
Is it pinata demons?
It's just a pinata, really. It's like it's not even demons. It's just a pinata that's full of evil. So this tribe back in ancient times puts all of their sin into a giant clay pinata. And it's got this really convoluted narration at the beginning where they tell this whole story and give us details we never need. We don't need to know about the good luck fertility idol that's also involved in this whole situation, but they tell us. And so they put all their sins into this demon and float it out to sea, and it gets struck by lightning. And then it lands on this island, and these kids who are they're running...
it gets struck by lightning and it flies?
No, it floats. It floats to an island.
So because it got struck by lightning, it goes over.
No, I think the lightning imbues it with I don't know, because they also
like
put
Frankenstein's
they
monster?
also there's all these details about, like, they put the heart of a pig inside of the pinata.
Why?
And like the brains of something else. I don't know, because that makes the pinata come alive. I don't know.
Why can't you have this much fun with Father's Day?
Because there's no dick sucking in this movie. Eating, I should say. There's no dick eating in this movie. And so
that's the limit for him.
Yeah.
Maybe if they'd put it in there, it would have done better.
Actually, I should look up and see how well it did at the box office, if he even ever had one.
Is that not box office, I'm sure.
So, but the other great thing about this movie is that the plot consists of all these, like, Greek students, you know, these, like, frat brothers and sorority sisters are going to this island. They get handcuffed together. They're playing this game where all the frats are competing. So, like, each of them is from sort of a different frat. And they're handcuffed in pairs, and then they're supposed to run out onto the island where the people running the game have just spread underwear all over the island There's just underwear hanging from trees and just everywhere, and they're supposed to collect as much underwear as they can, and whoever gets the most underwear wins. And of course, somebody comes across the piñata and smacks it with a rock. And here's the thing: when I think of piñata, I think of like a Mexican piñata. You hit it with a stick, candy comes out.
Yeah,
I've never heard of a piñata that anyone put souls into. I don't. But they all.
So the
as soon
piñata
as they
doesn't come to life.
No, the piñata comes to life. Yeah, it does.
But that's a really big disappointment.
I've never heard of a like clay piñata that tribes used to. But every time they see the clay piñata, they immediately call it a piñata, and I'm like that. I would, if I saw a clay statue of a demon, I wouldn't go, "Hey, look, a piñata."
You'd say a clay statue of a demon.
I would like, "Why is this fucking thing here? Let's push it back out into sea and hope it gets struck by lightning." That's what I would say. So it comes to life, and it has horrible animation, and it kills people, and it's awesome. It's really great.
All right, well, it's something I'll have to see.
Yeah, but it's not as awesome as The Room, which Brad and I went and saw this week.
That's right.
And so, Brian, since you've never seen The Room, and neither had either of us before this, The Room is actually like a softcore porn with like serious drama in there. There are long and repeated and very nude sex scenes in this movie.
Wait,
where the creepiest looking motherfucker just thrusts.
You see Tommy Wiseau's thrusting an ass.
Yeah. This guy right here. Do you ever want to see him naked?
No.
Well, you're gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's if I ever see
3 or 4 times.
which I will never.
So the story is whatever there is. Basically that.
Why is it called The Room?
I don't know.
They are in rooms a lot.
Yeah.
They're also on a roof. It's not called The Roof though.
Yeah.
So Tommy Wiseau plays this character named Johnny, who is in love with he's gonna marry this girl named Lisa, but Lisa is a horrible human being who's just manipulative and having sex with his best friend.
So this isn't like a horror movie; it's like a drama.
No, it's like a drama. And that's the thing, like, you know, where it's supposed to be a drama. It's supposed to be dramatic, right, Brad? I mean, unless this guy is a mad genius and he's purposely making bad films, I think he wants it to be a drama.
He intended to make a drama.
Yeah.
It comes off as a romantic comedy.
Right, yeah.
Wait, what?
So, because, you know, in a movie like Piñata, for example, it's supposed to be a horror, but it's just so schlocky.
So are you saying it's an
that it falls
unintentional
apart.
romantic comedy?
It's funny. It is funny, but not supposed to be, yeah.
Okay.
It's supposed to be a romantic drama, but the way it comes off is hilarious because
it's so poorly made and poorly acted, and there are sequences where they're all standing in a small corner and throwing a football back and forth and like laughing like, "Ha ha, we're having so much fun."
And then the one guy rolls his ankle or something while they're all just standing there.
Fuck you guys! You make me want to see this movie.
No,
we warned you.
It's unbelievable how ridiculous scenes are. Like I can't even remember all of them, and how there's, you know. I should get to the part where when you see this movie live, it's a completely different experience. That's so much so that I want to see it again because I didn't hear all of the dialogue.
Seeing it with an audience really like makes this movie fun to watch because there are people who are MST3King it throughout it, and granted, their comments aren't that funny, but
some of them are, and some of them are. Yeah, so I thought some of the ones that were clearly original I thought were funny, but yeah, you're right.
But a vast majority of them were just like, okay, whatever, dude.
Yeah.
But it's that energy in the room, and they every time there's a table in the room that has a photograph of a spoon.
Because there's
like
just all this like
it's some
abstract art in the room.
So every time the camera pans to like that frame shows up in the picture, people just hurl thousands of spoons at the Esquire screen.
Yeah. They will bring in, like, they'll go to Costco and buy a huge box of spoons, and they will throw spoons.
And yell, spoon, spoon.
Why won't they go to Sam's Club?
I don't know, but there was a guy who kept yelling about Costco, and I wanted to be like, come on.
And then they just leave them there at the end of the night, which makes me wonder, do they just throw out all those perfectly useful spoons?
Yeah.
Or do they do something smart and like have a box of them ready for the next show, you know?
Oh, that would be good, yeah.
That's what I would do.
Spoons,
but that way we would have spoons.
Yeah.
And not buy them. But
because Brad and I like sat in the back because we didn't want anybody to know we were virgins. So we were like, we're going to sit in the back and nobody will know. And then when they throw spoons, I just don't want to get hit with any.
So was it like really busy? Was there a lot of people there?
Yeah, I'd say there were 30, 40 people?
I'd say 60% of the seats were filled.
Wow.
Yeah, in the upstairs of the Esquire.
On a super cold night.
A lot of them were clearly people who return quite often.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, it's not just the spoons. There's a lot of jokes in there where There's timing, like
they have a pan of the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yes, there are all
where
these
people are like, go, 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 go. So you're sitting there watching as the camera's panning across the Golden Gate Bridge. It starts, they're all chanting, go, 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 and then it gets to the end of the screen. They're like, yay, and then it cuts to it's a transitional scene thing.
And there's a lot of just filler transitional scenes. There are other ones where they'll just be panning across the city at night, and you'll just hear the audience going, loading, loading, loading. There's nothing going on. There's no reason for the scene to be there.
Tommy Wiseau will drive to different locations, and it's always like, park that car. Just
it's ridiculous.
Just random chance.
I wonder how it caught on. There has to be somebody, you know what I mean?
Well, a big part of it is just how shitty it is, I think, and I think that as I think that it started like that in theaters where there were theaters that were just starting to show it all the time, and as that started happening, then people were finding these funny things to do where they could make fun of it. One of my favorites, though, is just because it draws attention to how awful the movie is. You were downstairs getting some drinks, but when the credits are rolling, they're yelling out things at the names of the characters as they of the people as they come up, and they got the most livid at the director of photography. And the reason is, and throughout the movie, sometimes they'll just yell his name. I can't remember his name. But they'll just yell like "fuck you," whatever his name is. And then the reason is because there are all these scenes where it'll just lose focus for no reason.
The shots will just be out of focus.
The shots will just be out of focus, and everybody in the audience will just yell "focus," and then there will be sex scenes that are awkward and horrible, and you'll hear them go,
gross.
"No, less focus." They actually repeat a sex scene. Some of the shots exactly the same. Like it's really bad
within like a minute or two of each other.
Yeah, and so when that scene starts. There were these guys who yelled seventh inning stretch, and a bunch of people got out of the theater. Some of them went downstairs and got more snacks. Some of them ran up and got more spoons and went and sat back down, and then they came back up and the sex was still happening. And they were like, what did we miss?
What was the thing with the mom having cancer?
Because in the first scene she's in, she talks about the fact that she has breast cancer, and then that never is a plot point again. And so they're yelling at her like, "Well, it's a good thing that'll never get mentioned again." One actor gets completely switched out. The guy who plays what's his name, Peterson or whatever, Peter or whatever he is, the bald guy with glasses early on. All of a sudden, he disappears. He's in a scene. He disappears.
Yeah, that guy. Okay.
And then a guy shows up who looks nothing like him and just starts talking to people as if he knows them. And the audience will just yell like, "Who the fuck are you?" Oh man.
Or they'll have a lot of repeat lines like, "But you're my best friend," or something like that. One shows up over and over again throughout the movie, so they always say that line. And people will show up to the room, have a conversation as though they were like spending the day together, and then they'll just leave like, "You just got here."
Or they don't close the door.
Quit leaving the door open.
All these inconsistencies. They were yelling about the candles. Oh, it was so much fun. I mean, really, it was an experience to be had.
I would go again, and if you wanted to see it,
I do too. I really do want to go again. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't mean.
But tell Cora I want that fucking $1.
Dude, I would pay for your ticket. For us to go.
Done.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Because the people are talking over it so much, like it's hard to follow what was actually really happening in the story.
Yeah. I'm actually kind of tempted to see it. I know some people who own it. I might borrow their copy, or I might just buy my own copy because I want to see it and see just how bad it is on its own.
Yeah. But the real charm of it is the theater audience.
For sure. Because it was hilarious. I was laughing the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. So if you are living in a town where they are showing The Room regularly, you should check it out. Especially if they aren't doing what they're doing here, because then you can start it. It's great.
Brad, what did you watch this week besides The Room?
We're already an hour in, so I'll keep it brief. Two things. I went to the Emerging Filmmakers Project yesterday, and there were two really impressive short films that stood out to me, so I'll highlight those real quick. One was called Incubator. It was a horror movie. It was maybe 2 or 3 minutes long. And this guy wakes up in a bathtub covered in ice and whatnot, and he goes to the mirror. He's got this huge gash on the side of his body. He can't get out of he's in a motel room that's sealed. Windows are blocked, doors locked. And all of a sudden, the scar starts pulsating. And so, he tries to dig at it, and then finally this gross bird creature pops out, and then it just ends.
Nice.
It's pretty cool. It shot really well. And then there's another one called Guns, Drugs, and Synergy. and it was this comedy about I forget the guy's name, but he's a aspiring Mexican drug lord, but he's running his business like The Office. So and they're making fun of Mexicans the whole time.
Sorry.
Anyway, yeah, it was just really funny that like the writing was really crisp and all the jokes were just really smart and witty. And there's good action in it. There's a gunfight at the end, in the vein of like Black Dynamite or something.
Sure.
So highly recommend it if you can find it.
So it's like the Mexican version of Black Dynamite.
No, because it's not like a detective is like on the trail of any mystery.
Exploitation wise and stuff.
Yeah, I guess if you're exploiting the Mexican culture, like, yeah, there's stuff like the drug lord rips off his jacket and you like hear an eagle scream. They have a fight. Like they have, I guess Mexicans really like popcorn chickens. So there's a bunch of jokes about that.
You're now learning stereotypes.
It's a big stereotype movie, and then
Cool.
If you can find those online or something, check them out. I'll try to post links when I find them on the site.
Cool.
And I've been watching a lot of Star Trek: The Next Generation. I finally got into like a groove of watching it, and I just can't pull myself away from it. I still haven't finished Always Sunny.
Oh yeah.
Those last 2
Oh
episodes.
really?
Yeah, I've been so sucked into Star Trek. So
That's funny. Where are you in the show? Season?
I'm up on season 3, and I really wish I had the HD versions right now.
Yeah.
Because like the DVD ones are great and all, but it's just like if I'm doing this much work, rewatching it, then
yeah, it would be neat.
I would like to watch the
Do you have the
pristine
season
version.
2 one?
Huh?
Do you have the HD versions of season 2?
I don't have any. I just have the
okay.
DVDs.
Yeah.
So and
I only-
season 3, and it gets so much better. Like
Yeah.
at the end of season 2 and season 3, and like they changed the uniforms and stuff and the intros.
Because the
redone.
uniforms were my biggest problem with season 2. No,
Well, it just makes them look less professional, I guess.
Yeah.
Like the new ones have like the collar and like the less detail and stuff.
All right.
So it just feels more, I don't know, professional.
Yeah, I hear you.
But I get like the old ones were like kind of t-shirty because that's what the original series was like.
Right.
And Gene Roddenberry didn't like the militaristic style, but I guess he must have caved or something.
Or died. He died somewhere in there.
He died probably like I think season 5.
Yeah.
So he was still around. And Wesley's not that annoying.
No,
I don't know why
I think people misremember Wesley.
Yeah.
I really do. I like Wesley.
And I guess do you want me to do the replay list or just save that for the blog?
Oh,
It's
you
up
mean
to you, man.
no, dude, talk about
Let's kick it off because we saw The Last Stand, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
it. Yeah, for sure. I want to talk about it.
I don't know if I'm going to continue it on the audio podcast, but I've been, like I said, you've maybe heard before, I'm going back to movies that I watched in the theater and saw once and then was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't need to see it again. I either hated it a lot or it wasn't like enough.
Yeah.
I didn't love it enough to see it again. So one of those movies that I enjoyed but didn't revisit was Collateral Damage from 2002, I think.
Yeah.
Very post
9/11.
post 9/11, but very close to it because it was actually supposed to. I was watching the special features. It was supposed to come out in October.
Yep.
And obviously they pushed it back because
Yeah.
it's too insensitive. And my feelings haven't changed about this movie. It's still okay. I didn't realize it was directed by the director of The Fugitive, which is one of my favorite movies.
Wow.
Andrew Davis. And it totally screams like. It even ends the same way. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger gets in a car and it drives off as the credits roll over them.
Wow.
While like all the police and emergency personnel are like cleaning up a scene,
Yeah.
just like The Fugitive.
He kills a couple people with an axe, though.
One person with an axe. If you don't know the story, Arnold Schwarzenegger plays Gordy. He's a firefighter in Los Angeles. And one day he's just trying to pick up his wife and son from, I don't know why they're having lunch at a Brazilian consulate or Colombian consulate, or some consulate in Los Angeles.
I haven't seen it in so long.
They're sitting on the patio having lunch. I don't know why they would go there for lunch, but they do. And it's also the site of, there's this terrorist called the Wolf, and he
That's right.
plants a bomb at the consulate. It goes off just as Gordy's about to pick them up. And he's guilt-ridden because he was supposed to be there earlier, but he stayed late for something, didn't get there in time. And if he got there sooner, obviously they'd still be alive, but they're killed. And then our government doesn't want to do too much about catching him right away, the Wolf. Like, they know he's back in Colombia.
Right.
They're not going to catch him. So Gordy takes the law into his own hands and really quickly researches everything about Colombia that he can find and enlists the help of some of his buddies
Dude,
to find
Schwarzenegger, of course.
And he goes there, and it is pretty cool how they kind of montage of that time instead of linearly seeing him train and then get on a plane and then go to Colombia. He's kind of talking about like what he would do if he had the resources to go to Colombia. So the guy he hires to teach him this stuff is telling him what to do, and you're seeing him do it while he's still in Los Angeles physically. But the montage is showing him already in Colombia, already hitching rides and stuff. And then, the rest of the movie is him just like tracking down the wolf. And there's this cool like moral dilemma of the fact that the wolf is a terrorist because he experienced his own collateral damage, and so Gordy's kind of on the verge of following along the same path. But the only difference is that he only wants to kill the wolf, whereas the wolf is willing to let other people around him die.
That's right. There's a kind of a mystery about it. Now it's like all coming back to me. There's a cool twist in the movie.
And there's actually even in the end, there's a even cooler twist with the wife of the wolf, which even though I'd seen it before, I totally forgot about it. But
like it's coming back to me now that how the
as soon as they get into like
plays.
I think it's a CIA room or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's something twisty is going to happen here. I forgot about it, but there it is. Okay, yeah, I remember, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think the movie's it's good.
Jane Lynch is in it. She gets her neck snapped, and she's actually in The Fugitive as Harrison Ford's like medical buddy who analyzes the samples, and here she's kind of doing like a data research thing again too.
The Fugitive. Oh, that's a good movie.
Casey Jones is in it as the asshole CIA guy. Arnold has a great line because for just some reason there's this line in the movie where Arnold's playing with the kid in the room as they're trying to figure out where the bomb is in the central station, and Casey Jones, I forget the actor's name, he is like looking at him, and he brought the wolf's wife with him, so he's like, man, you guys are like a really weird couple, like you'd have a funny sitcom on TV. And then Arnold just kind of is coloring with the crayons, and he doesn't look at him, he just goes, yes, and you could play the asshole. Like, what a weird diversion from this like terrorist plot to like make, and Casey Jones chuckles a little bit, like, yeah, and then he gets shot in the head a couple scenes later.
Wow.
But yeah, it's okay. Like, I think I feel like a more independent film would have delved more into the juxtaposition of Gordy's quest versus the wolf's quest. They kind of gloss over in like one scene where they just kind of have that typical beat the one guy up and then explain to each other what they're trying to do, and then Arnold gets the jump on him, but he doesn't get out of the situation.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Sorry.
I was just looking up. It's the last original movie that he was in before, because he was in Terminator 3.
Yeah.
And then that was really the last movie he starred in. I guess he has this. He shows up somewhere in the rundown apparently. But my point is that's the last like movie he starred in that wasn't just a Terminator movie until today.
And he looks really young in it. It's amazing, like what 10 years?
Well, 10 years, and running a state.
Yeah.
Do to you.
Politics will age you.
And
really
heart
fast.
surgery, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. And an affair.
He's had a tough 10
Yeah,
years.
the last 10 years have not been good to Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Anyways, that's what we've been watching. Stuff we've been watching. Here's a word from our sponsors. My man spider sense is tingling.
Hey, look, it's Man Spider.
How's it going, true believers? When I'm swinging through Colorado and I need comic books, I head to Arvada, Colorado, to Colorado Coins, Cards, and Comics.
Oh no, the teal troll is attacking me.
My son's in danger. Will no one help him?
Oh no, it's Man Spider.
Colorado Coins, Cards, and Comics, the whips the competition with great deals on back issues, 50% off, hold slot, 20% off list price. You want sports memorabilia? They got that too.
Where are you going, Man Spider? The teal troll still has my son.
Here's web in your eye.
Oh no, I'm bested by Man Spider again.
So visit 6700 Wadsworth Boulevard in Arvada, Colorado, and tell them the Real Nerd sent you.
For barbecue that can't be beat, try Birdman Barbecue Sauce. Available and original and spicy. These robust, full-flavor sauces have the awesome power to kick your taste buds in their face. And for that smoking taste on everything you eat, try new Birdman Smoke and Rub. Caution! Meat left unrubbed may suffer from flavor performance anxiety. You can pick up Birdman Barbecue at local area Ace Hardware stores, Ruff's Barbecue in Golden, and the Danny Cash Hot Shop off Broadway. You can also like us on Facebook at Birdman BBQ.
And we're back. Time to see what the number one movie in all of America was.
Last weekend, not ever.
No.
This is the box office stats.
Last weekend it was Zero Dark 30,
Yeah.
which was 29 million.
24.
24.
Which I'm actually kind of surprised that was number one, but the truth is there was not really anything else to beat it.
I thought Gangster Squad would have done it. Not by a lot, but I figured that it would be a more popular movie because I don't think movies about terrorism are that popular, but I guess they were.
It sort of backs up what I said, that I still think that Zero Dark 30 should have wide released back in the fall, and they should have made their money because nobody's going to see. Now is a time where not a lot of people are going to see movies. Why release it this way? Why dump it in January? It's doing okay for January, but it probably could have done a lot better during a better release.
You don't think it would have got lost in the shuffle?
It was a pretty big November, December.
November, like late November there was
Twilight.
A week there. There was some time there. Yeah, no, nobody who was going to see Twilight was not going to, nobody who was going to see Zero Dark 30 was going to not see it and instead go see Twilight. So
that Skyfall was around, like making a ton of money. So
I remember there were some weeks in November where we had some stinkers. I remember that. I remember it.
And The Hobbit came out, so
yeah,
December was out.
No, I'm just saying I think it would have been better then.
But they still made enough money.
Oh, yeah.
No,
it's going to do fine.
I think A Haunted House came in second, which is kind of shocking because that movie looked not good at all.
No, man, no.
And then Gangster Squad was third. No, Gangster Squad ended up being second.
No, third.
Was it
you're
third?
Right. Yeah, you're
was
right.
I right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Third with 17.
I think the problem with Gangster Squad is I don't know. Maybe it just didn't connect with people. You think Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone would be enough to sell people, but I guess you have to have a good movie, too.
Well, there was that one time where we were sitting in the theater and we watched the trailer, and when it was over, the guy was just like, "What is that douchebaggery?" And I was like, "Really?" Like, it's one of my favorite trailers of last year. I don't know why. Anyway, maybe it just doesn't work for people.
I guess not. Sometimes it just doesn't connect.
Yeah. Anyway.
Next week, in Blu-ray and DVD releases.
DVD releases and Blu-rays.
I don't think there's too much exciting going on.
No, a lot of little stuff.
I think the big one is End of Watch. I didn't really want to see it, but I heard the performances are really good in it.
Yeah,
they're re-releasing in theaters because it's Oscar worthy, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So I was kind of interested to see it for the performances. I'll wait till it's streaming for free. Sorry, Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
What else is coming out?
There's a movie called Searching for Sugarman, which was one of those little indie movies that was passing around for a while. So now is your chance.
It's not
to
just
see
a movie;
that.
it's a documentary, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Sorry. It's a documentary that had really good buzz. Did it get nominated for? I think it got nominated.
It's one of the
for Best
five, I think.
Documentary, yeah. So it's worth checking out.
As much as I've heard about it, I think it might actually win because it's gotten so much praise.
Yeah. So now is the time to run to your Redbox and rent it. Nobody Walks, which is that movie with John Krasinski and Olivia Thirlby, where like he's gonna cheat on his wife and she listens to music on her headphones.
That dick.
Yeah, it's something like that. I don't know. It looked interesting to me, but I didn't get a chance to see it. An Idiot Abroad Season 3 comes out, or Series 3 comes out in America on Blu-ray this week, which is only like 3 episodes long, but still, now is your chance to see it. Chris Hardwick's Mandroid, which is his newest stand-up, which is cool. The Men Who Built America, which is that History Channel documentary that I've been meaning to watch. I actually have it saved at home, and I was going to watch it, but it's out now, so maybe I'll just do that. And then Death Race 3.
Yeah.
There was a 2 at some point, and now there's a third one. So you can check that out.
I actually like the first Death Race. Well, the remake first.
Yeah.
It was not bad.
No.
That's great for fun. It's got
for a Paul
Ian
W. S.
McShane in
Anderson
it.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Paul W. S. Anderson. I mean,
It's probably the best Paul W. S. Anderson movie since Event Horizon. Yeah, somewhere around there.
Somewhere around there. They're all about the same.
Maybe Resident Evil 1.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 1's probably better.
Yeah. Anyway, James, you going to spool some real news for me now?
Yeah.
It's real news.
What we got this week?
Zack Snyder wants to make a Star Wars movie, but not the Star Wars movies. And I think the most interesting thing about this, he is working on a Star Wars movie that's not in the new trilogy. And I realized, as soon as this was announced, I realized that that's actually the only thing I care about. I care less about a main trilogy and more about somebody else coming in and just messing around in that universe and making a cool movie with Jedis and aliens and stuff. And spaceships.
It's not centered around the Skywalker clan.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and especially being Zack Snyder, like what he could do for just making a badass action movie set in the Star Wars universe. That's the kind of stuff that I always sort of dreamed about. And nobody had talked about doing anything other than that trilogy yet. So the fact that he is out there and that they're actually in talks and it seems like that's going to happen, I think is really cool.
They should do a reality show that's like Pawn Stars, but with Jawas.
Yeah.
Those are sand people.
Yeah.
Jawas are like.
Yeah.
Rotini.
Yeah. They actually announced a release schedule for Gravity, Alfonso Cuarón's next movie, which was supposed to come out like 3 years ago at this point.
I think it's supposed to come out in October, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, the point is we've been expecting that movie and talking about it for a long time, and they have officially announced a release. It's going to be in October of next year now, but still, it's just
next
like
year to 2013 or
2013.
2013.
2013,
so
October 2013. Yeah, so we will get to see it this year.
I know. I was reading, and I was
that's
reading
what they
the
said about
cast
G.I.
list
Joe.
that Robert Downey Jr. is in it, but I heard that only Sandra Bullock and George Clooney are in it.
Yeah,
It's literally two people. Maybe he's the robot voice or something.
yeah, it could be.
I think the expectations sound a bit high. They should probably come back down to earth.
Yeah,
he did.
That was a real stretch on that one.
And then speaking of TV shows, Zombieland, they in doing the promotion for Gangster Squad, it was sort of revealed that Zombieland is probably not going to get a sequel film, which is too bad. But I think all those people are sort of off and busy, and to bring them back together for that movie is probably not very likely. But they are talking about reviving the television show, which is actually what Zombieland started out as. It was going to be a pilot for a show, and then that sort of fell down, and they crafted it into a really awesome movie.
They did.
But I think that could be cool.
Yeah, because I listened to the commentary on it, and that zombie kill of the week was going to be like their tag at the end of every episode.
Yeah,
where it's the zombie kill of the week.
I think if they found the right home for it, like an FX, where they could both do the zombie stuff to the right degree and also not be too silly about like it needs to be silly, but it needs to be smart.
But
silly.
it can't be on network because network could be too neutered.
Yeah, exactly. Well, just neutered, and they would dumb it down so much.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it's you couldn't have really cool characters like on Justified.
Yeah. Not that you've watched it.
I know, but you brought it to me.
I
this
did.
week,
Yeah, it's
so
sitting there staring at you.
I'll maybe watch it.
Look at the 4 stars on the front of that Blu-ray. Yeah.
I know. I only
think
see
it's
Ola
fun.
Fantastic on it.
Yeah, but there's a lot of good characters in there.
No, you have Justified, or you can be able to get to these Deadwood DVDs that I brought you.
I know. I have to. Man, I have a lot to
there's
watch.
There's no rush. Justified. It's just a good cop show. No hype. You just sometime you watch that show, and then we'll fucking talk about it. Anyway, that's news for this week.
Boring. Jeez.
Oh, there's not much. Hey, nobody died. Right? That's good.
Yeah, it's good.
Is FX splitting it into 2 networks? Is that happening?
Oh, I didn't see that. I didn't hear about that.
Okay, well, maybe we'll save it for next week because I don't have any real information. I saw the headline. I was like, yeah, okay. I don't watch FX anyway, so.
Oh, you should be. There's. I mean,
I would if I had cable, but I don't.
Oh, right. FX is maybe my favorite. I was thinking about this today. I think FX may be my favorite channel on TV. Like, yes, AMC has some really good shows, but I think FX is producing a lot more stuff, and not all of it is good. But I just think they're doing some really interesting stuff. I mean, with Louis and obviously Justified, my favorite show on television.
And to clarify, if you're really interested in finding out what I just alluded to, I just read that FX was thinking about splitting into 2 networks, that one that focuses on an older demographic and one that focuses on a young demographic. So
yeah,
you'll probably get all the raunchy comedies in the young one, and then the more serious, dramatic stuff like Justified in the older one.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now because the Huffington Post talked about it, and yeah, it's almost the Huffington Post talks about it as being older and younger, but if I look at it, I just look at it as dramas and comedies, really. Putting your It's Always Sunny is on, and like they just started a show this week that I watched called Legit, which I didn't talk about because I don't really know what to make of it, because there's not it's this Australian comedian who he takes his friend's brother who's dying to Las Vegas so that they can get him laid by a hooker. But I don't know what the actual story of the show is going to be or who these characters are. So I'm going to wait a while, but still, they're pumping out a lot of just comedies like that and just trying different stuff, which I think is really neat. They don't take as much time and craft it as well as AMC does, but that's okay. It's different. Anyway, that's news.
Comic book corner.
What's up, nerds? It's the Comics Corner.
Now, if I sounded depressed, it's because Amazing Spider-Man is.
Oh, fuck. Just rename it the Spider-Man Corner and get it over with.
No, because every other week I talk about an interesting book.
Exactly. Anyways, Superior Spider-Man came out last week, and when we were at the comic store, Andrew told me that I might drop Spider-Man after it.
Are you going to drop
Thinking
Spider-Man?
about it.
I'll never drop Spider-Man just because I like the character.
But he's not,
right
in,
now.
he's not in the book.
Like
Yeah.
Peter Parker, though.
Yeah,
so.
it's a weird. I'm struggling, guys. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm struggling. Anyways,
It's keeping him up at night.
it is It starts again with Octopeter. That's my name. We call him.
Oh, man.
He's arrogant, and he's basically saying how stupid Peter Parker is because his life's so great. And again, right away it totally pisses on the ending to Spider-Man 700, where Octavius learns that, oh man, Peter Parker's so great that I have to be a hero like him in 3 pages. And so in this he says, oh, Peter Parker's stupid. I'm better than Peter Parker. And then he goes to lunch where he's going to basically rape Mary Jane, because it's not Peter, it's Otto Octavius who's using Peter's memories of Mary Jane to take advantage of her to sleep with her.
Yeah, if say, I don't know, they ever wrote a book where the chameleon pretended to be somebody and had sex with somebody, that would also be rape.
Exactly. Oh, wait.
Truly the superior Spider-Man.
This is true. The superior Spider-Man.
Anyways,
Raping bitches.
so Octopeter is talking to Mary Jane, and there's literally a panel in it where he's not really paying attention to her, but he says, and I love the view. And it's a panel of Mary Jane's breasts.
Fuck.
I'm not even joking.
This is... Fuck them.
Exactly, right?
This is supposed to be good Spider-Man who give this to your kids and they learn to be good people. And no. Way to kill fucking comics, guys.
Exactly. And so
Sorry.
it goes on, and he's trying to fight the new Sinister Six. One, again...
Isn't he supposed to be on them?
So who replaced him?
Oh, I wish I could have taken a picture of that glare.
It was... What replaced him was a bunch of C-list villains, like the Big Will. Have you ever heard of the Big Will? No.
What?
Yeah, exactly. And Speed Demon and Boomerang are kind of... They're still C-level. Anyways, so the book opens with Spider-Man attacking them. Octopeter. And then he realizes that he's like... Basically, he says, fuck this, I don't care about him. He leaves the fight because he's tired of getting his butt kicked.
What the fuck?
So he leaves the fight, and then he goes back to Peter Parker's job at Horizon Labs, where he's going to develop... he developed a specific way to defeat each one of them. So they show up to Horizon Labs for some reason, and he does that, and he's about to kill the Boomerang. He's going to like rip his face off or something. And as he's about to, a hand grabs him. The fucking ghost of Peter Parker grabs his hand and stops him from killing the Boomerang.
Okay.
I'm not making this
Is
up,
it
by the way.
literally is it like his conscious...
It is literally the ghost of Peter Parker grabs Octopeter's hand and...
Okay, so
No.
so in some way, Peter Parker's still in the book.
He is the...
Peter Parker, who has defeated death, ladies and gentlemen, is still saving people from bad guys.
That's how great of a character Peter Parker is. But I'm just saying, he's literally stopping him. And then, like, he's like, there's a panel of Peter Parker's ghost hand.
Right. So your problem is that incorporeal Peter Parker is stopping corporeal
Exactly.
Peter Parker. Okay.
But so that's like the last panel on a page. So you turn the page and it cuts to Octo Peter as Spider-Man, and he says, and has an inner monologue. He says, "I don't know what made me stop."
Oh, so it is in his head.
No, because
What?
so Octo Peter says something made me stop. It cuts to a huge like half page of Ghost Peter saying, "I'm still around. You might not know it, but I'm going to find a way to get back."
Hell yeah, Peter Parker.
No, that's horrible writing.
Well, yeah, no, it is. But I'm wondering now if, since they are keeping him around, and obviously him coming back is going to be a part of this story. See?
Yeah.
Where it's not like they're just going to kill him. It's not like when Batman dies where, like, he dies, and then they have some fun with him not being around, and then they come up with a real quick story to get him back. Like, clearly him coming back is going to be a part of this story, so maybe their whole point here, and I'm giving them a lot of grace by saying this, maybe their whole point here is that they're going to put somebody else in his shoes, and by using them as a foil, sort of show us like, okay, this is what somebody who's not as good as Peter Parker would do with this. And then when Peter Parker comes back, we can be like, oh man, I appreciate him as a character so much more because now I know how good he actually is because I didn't even
quit
realize.
giving Dan Slott credit.
Okay, all right. I'm just saying, maybe that.
It could.
I think they're going. If that's what the story they're trying to tell, I think they're doing it in a shitty way.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that's maybe what he's doing. Is he's saying, this is what the world's Spider-Man would be like without Peter Parker.
Yeah.
So basically, Ghost Peter Parker is his Jiminy Cricket,
Right.
where he's not letting him do bad things.
Yeah.
But an insult, though, I saw a cover for next month's Superior Spider-Man, and Spider-Man's all over Mary Jane. So wouldn't Peter Parker's ghost stop him from raping Mary Jane?
Slaps his dick out of the way. Like, what happened? This never happened to me before.
So, I mean, I'll stick with the book because I like Spider-Man, but I don't like that one, he runs away from a fight. I don't like that there's a panel of him zeroing in on Mary Jane's breasts.
Well, and I think that if I like I said, I think it sounds like it's part of really the way they did it. If they hadn't killed Peter, they had just trapped him in Otto Octavius's body, and so you knew like, okay, there we go. So then it's really just like, oh, Otto Octavius is in Peter Parker's body, and we've got to get him out. So then it's just him doing villainous things.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's different. Then you wouldn't be looking at it as Peter Parker is doing these bad things and being a bad person. See what I'm saying? It seems like maybe execution of their idea is maybe the problem.
Yeah, I understand that they're saying, well, now it's a different Spider-Man, and it's not Peter Parker, so he can rape people and kill people, and it's okay. I don't know. It's just the execution's weird, and that there's literally a ghost of Peter Parker in the book.
Yeah, that's stupid.
I mean,
kind of awesome.
I mean, I understand. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess maybe if he's so intelligent that he's saying that Peter Parker's around and that the ghost of Spider-Man is gonna. I'll never get on board with Otto Octavius as Spider-Man. So
maybe when Octo Peter isn't paying attention, maybe like Peter Parker is just like butt raping him.
Totally
behind, like while he's
and
sleeping.
The only way they could
fuck you, Otto.
The only way they could pay off Ghost Peter, like stopping Octavius from killing Boomerang, is that if he has an opportunity to kill the Green Goblin and Peter doesn't stop him. That would be a cool story. And then Peter Parker's finally got rid of Norman Osborn, and he can come back. And he's waiting for him to kill Norman Osborn.
Isn't that sort of that one of those, maybe I can't kill you, but I don't have to save you. One of those things of like, well, maybe would Peter Parker let Otto?
Would that make this whole story arc worth it? Maybe.
Would you be okay? Even worse than Peter Parker being dead, would you be okay if the Green Goblin were dead?
I would be okay with the Green Goblin being dead because he was dead for 40 years.
Well, that's true. Never mind.
I can live with him being dead.
Yeah.
And there's always Harry Osborn. He magically came back because remember, Spider-Man made a deal with the devil. So, Comic Book Corner. I tell you not to pick up Superior Spider-Man, but it's already sold out, so you can't pick it up anyways.
Oh man.
Anyways, this week, boys, we saw Arnold Schwarzenegger's return to starring roles. Brad, should people go see The Last Stand?
Meh. It has fun moments, but it's again nothing special, nothing you haven't really seen. Didn't knock my socks off. Sorry.
James, should people go see The Last Stand?
I don't think you should go see it. If it's a movie you're interested in, like if you want to see Arnold Schwarzenegger return, maybe rent it. I think when Arnold Schwarzenegger's in the movie, I think it's really fun. But there is a lot of parts where he's not in it, and it's boring and drags his feet and isn't really that interesting, and the action isn't as cool as it could be. So, no.
I thought it was pretty cool. I think you should go see it. So
Okay.
now here's a trailer for it.
That'll put another hole in the elephant right there, boys. I thought he wasn't working there.
Hey, Ray, how you doing, man? Good to see you.
Wow, you're looking jacked, Ray. You been working out?
Give me the damn thing. A prisoner is cartel boss Gabriel Cortez. We need to transport him through Vegas to a maximum security prison. The cartel is here. Sheriff John Bannister, FBI. I have a violent fugitive making a run for the Mexican border.
A couple of truckers that stopped in town. There's something off about them.
Complete your mission. Get me across that border.
Something big is going on here.
I want a roadblock right here now.
Several officers down.
What kind of car is this?
The 01, faster than any chopper.
Owen's here. What can I do for you?
Some smartass is flying a jet plane around out here with no lights on.
Boom, 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 boom. I'm not gonna let that guy come through our town without a fight.
I love the way you walk, and I love the way you talk.
How are we gonna go up against all that firepower?
Bang, 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 bang.
I got an idea.
He's my little Nazi killer.
You have more ammo?
How, how.
You never know.
How are you, Sheriff?
Old.
Boom.
Who the hell are you?
Bang.
I'm the sheriff.
I thought the title card was pretty cool. It was
Oh, yeah, where the cars...
map, and it turns, and then it's a last stand is, the part on the map. You're always complaining about titles being boring, and that one wasn't. I thought it was shot really well. I thought the director had some cool choices.
I think it's shot in a way that, like, yeah, there are some cool little shots to it, but I wouldn't call it really well.
It's very experimental. Yeah. They're trying things.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even this sounds silly, but there's a shot where a car comes up and parks, and the camera tracks up the car, and then gets to the door. I think shots like that are cool because you don't see them.
And when they zip cord out of the parking garage, it like follows them ziplining, and then they go off in the distance, and the camera comes down and follows the cop cars.
Oh yeah, and I think he does some interesting things like the scene where it's in the trailer where Arnold gets thrown through the front of the cafe, and they ask him, "How are you?" "Oh, I'm old." Well, in that shot, him getting thrown through the door is actually sideways.
He runs through the door.
Whatever, I don't remember. Him going through the door is actually shot like sideways. Like it's not even a Dutch angle. It's like the length of the door is from right to left of the screen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's just a quick shot, but it's just a little disorienting.
If you've seen the trailer, you've seen it.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, but just weird. And then there's stuff like that. It's not distracting. It's just kind of interesting.
Like, I had fun in the movie, but I will agree with James too. I mean, there's parts where like Schwarzenegger is gone for 20 minutes.
Oh man,
like, come on, dude! I want to see Schwarzenegger.
Because I don't give a shit about Forrest Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker just died a little.
I'm sorry. I don't want him to. I know.
I forgot to say this too about Collateral Damage, but when Arnold really tries, he can pull off good dramatic acting.
Oh yeah,
like blitzing. And he does it again in here.
I think he's really good in, and people will laugh at me. Is End of Days.
Yeah,
he's really good when he's, contemplating like his suicide and he's sitting in his apartment by himself. I think you're right, Brad. I think
he has some clunky deliveries on some lines, but
I don't know if is that his fault or is it the script?
I think it's the script. I think the script is just shit.
The script has some bad lines in it, but also like he really hasn't gotten over his accent. Like it has, he still has that.
I mean, I don't think he's at this point he speaks English well enough. I don't think he's trying to get over it. That's just the way he sounds.
But it makes some lines come off kind of weird.
Do you think it has maybe something to do with that he hasn't been in a movie in a long time? Or
could be.
I definitely think so. There were, especially early on, like the first couple of scenes he was in, where he's talking to the mayor and things like that. I was like, oh no, he's lost it. But as soon as he drives that van in and runs over a dude and then breaks the window with his elbow and then starts shotgunning people, I was like,
that part was
fuck
badass.
Yes, I have missed this so much.
It's amazing how him just entering a scene can make all the sharpshooters terrible shots.
Oh yeah.
And he has a shotgun.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's going around shooting people's faces off with a shotgun, and they have like rifles with scopes on them, and they can't kill him.
But it is really cool seeing Schwarzenegger in movies like this because it sounds weird, but I kind of missed that action star. I mean, it's been filled a little bit with I think Sylvester Stallone's done really well lately with his action movies. But there's something about Arnold that I've always loved, and whether it's Collateral Damage or End of Days or Running Man or Predator, he has a presence on screen.
Oh yeah,
that is really commanding.
And even if it does take him a little bit to warm up, I think that charisma shows back up again, especially halfway through the movie when people are dying and he's shooting bad guys and stuff like that, and you're just like, yeah, I will love this, and I don't. Maybe you don't necessarily see him as a character. You just see him as that caricature of Arnold Schwarzenegger, but that's fine because it's cool.
Yeah, again, I think it's a script problem. Like I still actually kind of liked this movie a lot because I kind of had fun with it. But I think his character is kind of undeveloped too because, he says he was old, and then I guess they're going for laughs when he puts glasses on to investigate stuff to say, oh, he is old now. But I mean, overall, I thought the movie was pretty cool. There is a lot of cliches in it. The FBI agent who's working with the bad guy and things like that. But I don't think the villain was that interesting.
The villain is.
Did I mention this movie is also like a very expensive Corvette commercial?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
it is.
I love the fact that the Corvette, which is made out of like fiberglass, can get in a wreck with it can wreck an SUV. The SUV drives over it and flips, and yet it just scuffs the paint because we got to sell some Corvettes here.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a point there. I remember during that chase sequence in the cornfields, where they're like driving their cars over each other and flipping. It's crazy. At some point, I had to go like, okay, James, you're 12 years old and you don't know how cars work. Just have fun with this. And then I was like, oh, okay, cool, all right, yeah. It's like playing with your Matchbox cars at home, But it plays back on those, like you said, those cliches.
You're right. It does take a little bit to get going too, because it doesn't. I think it doesn't really pick up until he does show up at that shootout, where and that's almost halfway through the movie where he's. But I mean, there's really cool moments in it, and I mean, the cliches hurt it, but I think what helps elevate it is I don't know. I miss Schwarzenegger and stuff. So
I think it would have been more interesting if they had completely cut out all that FBI stuff, so that it was really just because I liked the sort of the other characters, the guy who's in the guy who's in jail, the Jamie Alexander's character. It's got the guy who plays Matt Saracen from Friday Night Lights, who plays Jerry. Who, spoilers, he dies. Though like that little pack of characters, I really enjoyed. For what they were, and I would have liked it if it was just like us getting to know them, and then all of a sudden, guy in a super fast Corvette is driving to town, and they got to stop him, and we don't really understand who he is or why, but he's clearly crazy, and that alone, that would by itself, I think, would have been a better movie. It's all that sort of downtime with the FBI that's where it just sort of is like, come on, start shooting people.
They
again.
had that scene in the trailer where he grabs that guy and they crash through the window. But the part they edit out is he runs and shoots the dude in the head before he
shoots him in the head midair.
Yeah, it's badass.
There are some good kills in there.
And then the granny part, quiet granny, and the granny blows that dude away.
Well, just the way that just the look on her face as she like reaches over and gets the gun out. We don't see it. it just cuts away, and then he goes flying through the window. Aw, that was a good time.
And Schwarzenegger says, "Much obliged."
What did you say? Like, don't you have more guys to kill or something?
No, she says like, "Go get him, Ray." Is his name Ray?
Yeah.
Yeah. She says something like, "Go get him, Ray," or "Show him, give him what for," something like that.
Yeah, what for? Thanks, I will. And then
yeah, there you go. His delivery of that line of like, oh, okay, like all right, this is weird, but sure, I'll go do it. Is great. And
I kind of like the end fight scene too because in the 80s Schwarzenegger would have killed that guy, but he's such an upstanding citizen that he takes him back, and even had the line, you give immigrants a bad name.
Yeah,
which is kind of cool. The only thing I didn't like about the end scene is it was totally green screened and it wasn't.
Yeah. That bridge is not a cool place to have a big fight sequence. I was expecting, because I was going into this really wanting it to be very over the top and just balls at the wall. I was expecting it was not a bridge, but it was just a big ramp, and then he was supposed to be driving this super fast car like over the thing.
Like they didn't have time to build a whole bridge, so they just did half of it, and then he ramps it.
Oh, especially because then like they could both drive their cars over, and then he could fight him in Mexico, and he has to drag his ass back to America. He's like, I don't care about borders. I'm still gonna get like that would have been cool.
I was hoping he was going to chuck him off that bridge, and when he just kind of fell on that plate.
Yeah.
And you thought his spine was severed. You're like, oh, okay, well, that was a short fight. And then,
Well, and that made it cool too, because then when he comes back, like for a second, you're like, oh shit, this guy's got the jump on him, Yeah.
But his honor can't be bought.
I was a little disappointed by Luis Guzman. Can I say that? I usually expect him to be funnier, but
really,
he doesn't really get a lot. Oh yeah.
I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's just not enough of it.
Yeah, he kind of is forgotten about for a while.
Of course, the truth is, jokes in general, I think, are just given a little bit too much time to breathe, and so they're not. You sort of laugh a little, and then it's just sort of awkward after.
I think he's really lucky because I think if you get shot with a .50 caliber in your shoulder, it just takes off your arm.
Well, Schwarzenegger did shoot that one guy in half with the.
I know.
Oh, that was good.
the minigun.
Yeah. Well, and there's the guy who gets shot with a flare gun and explodes.
Yeah. There's some fun parts in this movie.
Yeah.
So I liked it.
But again, also some of that CGI too is terrible. Like when the farm owner gets shot off the tractor.
Oh yeah. Where did that bullet come from? Who shot him?
A sniper, I assume.
I guess. Yeah. 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 It's not that it's really awful. It's just that for sort of what I was. For the kind of action movie I expect it to be, I don't think there's enough meat, if that makes sense. So yeah.
I thought Knoxville had some good gags.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he's
like naming all of his stuff, funny names, and trying to take down a telephone pole.
Yeah, but then like that whole plot,
that's not going to stop
while
him.
It's happening, and then they congratulate him when he gets it down, and I'm like, are you serious? That's not going to stop anything. And then that never comes back.
Yeah.
That is not part of the
that was a different road that they closed off, so you had to go through Main Street for The Last Stand. You guys didn't pay attention to the fucking movie.
I think that it was poorly laid out.
They looked at that and were like, oh, I can't get through that telephone pole that still has like a 9-foot gap under it.
Well, maybe he moved his truck.
3 minutes later, he's driving through cornfields, and the town has like one road, so I'm pretty sure he could have found another way, but yeah. Yeah, but exactly that kind of thing where like that joke of him trying to drop the telephone pole, it's funny at first, and then it just sort of it breathes for a while, and you're like, am I still supposed to be laughing? But it's not. Yeah, it's fun. I'm glad to have him back. I want to see another movie.
Totally. Well, you don't have to wait that long to see him again. I think he's in a movie.
He's got a bunch.
He has a couple
slated.
coming out this year.
He's got to pay his maid.
Got child support payments to make.
Lots of it.
Yeah.
And alimony.
I'm sure he had a prenup on that stuff.
He's got that movie The Tomb coming out this year.
Oh, that's right. That's with Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think it comes out in October or something.
September, end of September. So yeah.
Look at me with my memory.
I know. He looks really old in it. He's they let him gray his beard out, which is weird.
Anyways, did you know you can like us on Facebook?
No.
Real Nerds Podcast. You can tweet us, real_nerds. You can call us, 720-6nerds5. Go to our website, realnerdspodcast.com. Leave comments. What am I forgetting?
Download Stitcher. Listen to us on the Stitcher app.
Yeah, we're on the Stitcher Radio Network now. You can go to iTunes and download us. There's so many ways you can listen to us. You can stream us live on our not live. I guess you can stream us on our website. You would be live streaming us on the website. We would not be. We would be recorded. Next, what?
I said thanks. Thanks for explaining that.
You got it.
Yeah.
Next week we'll be seeing Hansel and Gretel.
Oh, are we?
Yeah.
I thought we were singing Bullet to the Brain. Bullet to the Head. The head bullets.
Now that's February 1st, buddy.
Is it?
Pay attention to the fucking movie schedule.
Okay.
So we're seeing Hansel and Gretel. We saw a really sweet extended preview of it.
There's like 2 different shots in that trailer.
I
There's
think
nothing interesting about
I think
that
the
trailer.
only extended part was they had Jeremy Renner before it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, until next week, the real nerds bid you adieu. Bye.
Bye.